When did you get the call that you might be driving the car at Pocono? What time? What time of day?
We were headed back to the airport. I was with my buddy Drew Dollar. He's like one of my closest friends. And
that name's familiar.
Yeah. So he's raced and he's done some stuff for us. And we were driving back. I remember Coach called me.
You were still in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm driving our rental car.
Gotcha.
And I don't know what highway we're on, but we're on the way back to the airport, and it's all dark. And I remember I got the call, and I'm like, heck yeah. Like, I was like, you get your butterflies a little bit in your stomach, and I was very excited. And Coach just trying to micromanage the whole situation. I'm not calling them out or anything, but we were just parked on the side of the road for about an hour and a half, just trying to figure out what I need to do. And I'm like, all I want to do is just go home. And all the broadcasts mentioned that I went to TRD simulator, but I was to my house to my simulator.
Yep. So you went home to your
I flew back.
house.
I'm like, I just need to go back and get a good night's sleep in my bed, which was only like 5 hours. And I was like, I just want to run on my simulator for a little bit, like just to get my feet wet, just to get acclimated, because I didn't run any sim for this at all. Like I haven't done anything for the Cup car.
Right.
Nothing. No Cup stuff. Mm-mm. I've done just on iRacing, and iRacing we're still getting closer on that. But so I got back, I did the sim, and then I ate steak and shake and went to bed and woke up and left at I think 5 or 6:30 in the morning, and we flew back up, and I was ready. And then it was announced, and I was ready to go. So
So how did the butterflies do when you got closer and closer?
I don't know. I feel like I've done really good with pressure. I feel like I've kind of grown up on a pressured household. I raced BMX for a while with my dad, and my dad was very competitive. So I remember the most pressure I've ever felt in any type of racing situation was racing BMX when I was 9. Over anything I've done, over Cup and Xfinity, ARCA Championship. That's just how it was. But I feel like God gave me that so I could kind of learn how to cope with it at a young age, and I've built on callous on that since then. So I think I was more trying to figure out how loose I could get the car, just so I could I didn't want to wreck, or just so I knew what I had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I was just trying to reframe my situation. I'm like, I could be nervous, but I want to race good and do a good job. And just figure out, I was like, I just want to know how loose I can get. So I'm asking everybody. I'm asking all the drivers, and I'm like,
at the track.
How far are you getting it out there? And they're like, not too far. And I'm like, oh, all right, that sounds good. I don't really know what that is, so I'm going to have to figure that one out.
I'm not sure they know yet either, right?
Yeah, but it was chaos. It was just so much. And I feel like the best way to describe it, I told my friends this, was like, have you played NBA 2K?
No.
So and they have career mode, and you go from being a high school player, college player, to being an NBA. And you've got, all of a sudden, they've got all these cameras on you. And that's exactly how I felt. I'm putting the McDonald's suit on with the Jordan logo, and I'm wearing Jordan shoes. And more media I've ever seen in my life on me. I don't, people are screaming. Bob was screaming at me, and Claire B was screaming at me. And I'm like, I don't know. Who am I supposed to answer to? I don't know. I've never been in a situation. So it was just a lot. It was really quick, and it was super cool. It was a moment I'll never forget. I remember standing in the meeting, and I'm just like, it was from here to the wall was just thick with people.
Before the race. Yeah, when you got there that morning.
I'm like, I don't know if I can. I don't know how to put this thing in gear yet, and I got all the media around me. So
that's right. Yeah, because the sequential and all that.
Which the sequential, I got lucky because my go-kart feels the same. I have a shifter go-kart, so it feels pretty
really
close.
Similar, huh?
It's a little bit different, the linkage feeling of it. It is in the walls and the shifter, but it feels pretty close. It's not too bad. I think it's really fun.
When you got in the car, what was the first thing that you were like, okay, this is going to take a little time?
Oh yeah. So
what about the car was the first obvious thing of different?
Yeah. So of course they run saw belts, and I run Hendrick seats. I've always run Hendrick seats, so I didn't have a seat pour, and so I jumped in Kurt's, and it was too low, and I jumped in Bubba's. So I run Bubba's in the simulator. It's really close, and I remember getting there for the first time, strapping down, and I'm like, gosh, I can't see anything. I remember being super, super laid back, and I remember the dash being right here, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be big. Yeah, I was way lower than I thought, because I'm sitting in the car before the race, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, I think I'm okay. I'm in the garage, which is completely different. I'm high, but I get in there, and I remember driving off, and I'm like, I'm really low. This is... I remember it feels like being thrown in the car when they set you down low for the first time. You're like, I can't see anything, but they said this is going to be fast, so let's do it. And that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, I can't see anything. And the sound of the engine was different, just the way it sounds. I feel like iRacing was really close to that, which is actually super cool. So kind of gave me a good feel. And then just making sure I have the clutch in for a little bit before I pull in gear so I don't break the transaxle. So that's just the little stuff.
Yeah. So you drove the race you drove the race
I
in
was
that
white
position.
knuckling the wheel.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I don't want to wreck it.
Right.
I got a blister right here actually from it from this weekend.
One of the one of the things that I thought was so fascinating and so smart was the and it's hard to do this because racers, race teams, they just don't think this way. But we were sitting in the booth and we were thinking, man, you know, Steve's a crew chief, right? So he's got the crew chief mind, and it's easy for him to have these great ideas sitting in the booth. You got the 40,000 foot view, and it's like, oh, that's obvious what the crew chief needs to do in this situation. This is the call, 2 tires, right? But when you're down on ground level, it's harder to see
Yep.
everything and what else is going on to be able to make that decision. But we're sitting up there, and Steve's like, they can run that whole first stage without even really trying. He won't get lapped. He can go out there and just go as easy as he wants and take his time, and he won't get lapped. That's what they should do. And so we're sitting there, and I was like, man, that's a great idea. If I was Ty, and knowing how I was nervous for my first race, if somebody said, hey, man, just go figure it out. Don't worry about your lap time. We're going to be fine. And I would be like, man, what a relief. That's really what I'd love to do. And that's exactly what they told you. They came on the radio, and they're like, hey, man, we're going to chill. We're just going to fall back, you know. Mm-hmm. And when you heard that, were you like, that's a nice relief?
I don't know. I wanted to go.
Really?
Yeah. I just wanted to I was going to be easy for first couple laps. So I want to figure out how much it was. But the Xfinity deal, I know it was so close to ARCA car, just the way the road course was. I raced ARCA car the year before and an Xfinity car, so downforce doesn't mean that much in the infield road course that they DRC. But I remember at an Xfinity car, I'm like, let's go. Like, I feel good. And I'm going to hammer down. And in this car, I was like, oh, this feels a little sketchy. Like, you know, so I was like, I'm going to take it easy. And then we kind of rode around, and then they tightened me up a little bit. I got a little bit free. You know, it was the way the car handles is completely different. So I remember I just kind of was stuck back there, and then we kind of just worked our way up and up and up.
Yeah. Did you ever have any big moments?
Yeah, so they were like, run the outside of the 20. So the 24 passed me, and I was going to run the outside of them. I was actually at the end of the race. I was fighting for 15th.
Yeah.
And I just got passed for 14th, and I was in 15th at the time by William. And I remember I offset to the right on the outside into turn 1, and I had my right side in the PJ1. And I remember the car went like this. It did this slow, and then it did like the hospital hop. And I'm like, oh. And then I kind of gathered it back up, and I got past a couple more. And it finished 17th or 16th. But that was probably the biggest moment I had. Just super quick, really quick.
Yeah. How about the steering, the rack steering? You've raced cars with rack and pinion steering before, maybe?
Yep, Trans Am cars. The only thing, I've never drove a Super with it, but I've never drove Super in general, but I've drove Trans Am car. And
so that wasn't too foreign?
No, not too far. It was a little different, but it was good. I think we had put, for the next race, like for Michigan, my steering was a little stiffer because it was really free, like loose and easy to turn before, so I had more something to hold on to.
Yeah. This past weekend, you ended up in the top 10. So, you know, when you get out of the car, what's your feeling about that result?
I was frustrated because I feel like, way capable of running better than that. And the car was really good, and Bubba ran really good. But I got caught speeding in Section 18, just has 60.01. I was just a little bit, but it was enough to cut call. And I was more frustrated about that because we came out in the top. I think we came out 6th or 5th or 6th or something like that.
What point of the race was that?
At the last stage.
Oh,
so it was like
so the
30
last
to
stage.
go. Yeah, it was like the last segment.
I got you. Wow.
I was frustrated with that because I knew I was like, man, I could have maybe had the top 5, or if you got clean air, you're gonna have a shot to win. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, never say never. So I was just mad because I took myself out of the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all had a lot of speed. All the Toyotas were fast all
Really
weekend. Hey guys, I'm here to tell you 3 reasons why I love our sponsor, Tire Pros. Number 1, Tire Pros loves cars as much as I do. Number 2, they have great service. Number 3, they're committed to getting you back out on the road. Plus, they've got this really cool logo.
Dale, that's 4 reasons.
And they have over 600 locations, 24/7 roadside assistance, a great selection, and a best-in-class tire warranty. Tire Pros, love the drive.